Hi, everybody. I'm Danielle with the Sweeney Agency, and this afternoon I'm very excited to welcome Scott McKain. Scott is a recognized thought leader, author, and speaker on sales and customer experience. He works with organizations around the world about how to create the key ingredients to attract and retain customers and employees. Scott's engaging virtual presentations are filled with insights, ideas, and the practical tools that empower people to take action. Scott, we're so glad to have you join us today. Thank you so much. Scott, thank you so much. That is fascinating. I can't wait to hear more about this study.
Thanks. It's been a lot of fun, and it really opened my eyes in terms of where the future lies in our ability to connect and to relate and to have meetings that have meaning. Just a quick example, Danielle. I think many times meeting professionals have been like Broadway producers. We think of the stage, or it's like Cirque du Soleil here in Las Vegas where I live. We've got all of these different activities going on, but it's all on a stage and the audience takes it all in. And the staging for the events that I did, pre-pandemic, oh my gosh, the production values have gone through the roof. They're absolutely fantastic. Now we have to think like broadcasting executives. Now we have to think about being able to connect on the camera. And that's part of what came through in the study too, in terms of friendliness. It's that one-to-one connection that we feel through this new how that makes such a significant difference. So think more in terms of segments. Think of connecting with the camera rather than a wide, as a speaker, part of what I learned is make eye contact with every segment of the audience. Now there's only one thing that matters, and that's the camera. So we have to learn new techniques and new skills to be able to communicate. I think the very essence of how speakers connect with an audience is changing because the how we connect with them is changing. But as meeting planners change their perception of what they're delivering to their audience, I think we're going to see a lot more in terms of hybrid meetings, a small audience that we then live stream throughout our geographic territories. Mm-hmm. We're going to see so much change, and it's extremely, extremely exciting.
That sounds really exciting. So what more, your virtual or your live presentations are so dynamic and so exciting. So how are you working? I love this idea of a hybrid meeting. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, exactly. It kind of goes back as I was building my speaking business. I had the greatest part-time gig in the world to help fund the beginning of my speaking business many, many years ago. I was a globally syndicated movie reviewer. I got to every weekend I would go to either New York or Hollywood, and I'd see the advanced screening of a new film a couple weeks before it came out. I got to interview the celebrities. Arnold Schwarzenegger's booked me for speeches. In fact, I've you name it, Meryl Streep, on and on and on, Tom Hanks, John Travolta. I've interviewed all of them.
Wow.
And then I became a news anchor for a little bit. I was probably the only freelance news anchor for a top 25 market in the U.S. television station. And so I wanted to learn about how do you communicate with a camera differently than how you communicate with a live audience. And one of the things that occurs to me in this time is that, most speakers have been trained for the stage and how to make their presentation work from the stage. But few of us have really gone through the process of learning how to communicate with a camera. Let me give you one quick difference. If I'm on the stage and I want to make a big point, your voice gets bigger and your gestures get bigger. But that's not what relates to the camera. On the camera, we get slower and more intimate because the camera is very hot. By that, I mean, you're working in this very small frame, and we have to understand there's a fundamental difference in how we communicate this way as opposed to how we communicate on the stage. But there's a reason why late night talk shows and sitcoms are filmed in front of a live audience. And that is, as we sit looking at the screen, we like hearing an audience because that engages us in the performance. And so I think what a hybrid meeting is going to be is, as before travel gets back to where it used to be, that we're going to have smaller meetings that are live streamed throughout the world or throughout the geographic area that your organization covers. The reason is because the viewer in their home office or the viewer in their location will mentally put themselves in the seat at the event without having to travel to get there. Meanwhile, they still get their colleagues laughing or applauding or thoughtfully taking notes or responding to the information that's being presented. One of the interesting things that came out of our study is that networking was one of the lowest ranked of all of the options about a virtual event. I would have thought it would have been much, much higher than that. But what your attendees are crying out for is content, is information. It is, how do we serve our customers more effectively? Where is our organization going in this changing time? And so we have to leverage how they have been trained through years of watching television and through years of getting material over the screen into how we can effectively present that for our organizations and for our team members.